Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to another episode of Love Reading. And I want to take you through another beautiful book early on in these months of when we are all geared up for our month of Ramadan in the first days. And of where our attention should be. Yes, it's on Quran, it's on Ibadah and everything, but to expand it to also into our reading. So the book I want today is from a publication called the Islamic Foundation, which is in England, in Leicester. And they have been systematically, I think from the 60s, that I've known them from my school days, is they've got beautiful books coming out. They've had lots of review. They used to do a quarterly review of other books, but it was beautiful. This is in the days when there was no internet, no Google Sheikh, no nothing, and that. So the only way we would get access of what is being published or what is new in the field of Islamic studies or Islam in general is through the Islamic Foundation. The other thing also, a lot of the English literature that we have, and we unfortunately being English-speaking Muslims, is a lot of it came out from England. So the diaspora of the Indian subcontinent Muslims and other Muslims, that they all converged. 90% it started from England, eventually also from the States and other places. Now we have beautiful publications from Malaysia and many other places. But let's say in the hub, I'm just taking you as far back as the 60s from where I know of knowing those authors and knowing those people, is all the way back to that period. So now the book I'm talking to you about now is from 1983 from the Islamic Foundation. I'm not sure, I can't remember when the Islamic Foundation actually came into being, but it's those authors and those people who came around to do this. They did a brilliant job. And this book that I want to read, because it's Ramadan and we have a very close connection with the Quran, is something called Ulum al-Quran, and which is the introduction of the sciences of the Quran. So we read the Quran, but it's beautiful to say that the development of the disciplines and the branch of knowledge which are related to the understanding of the Quran, they are considered necessary, what we call, and we need to know that. So we're reading the Quran, how did they start, how were the first Mufassir coming into life, and so on. So it began with the lifetime, obviously, with Rasulullah. He was the first one to explain to us the Quran. But thereafter, it also began with, so there weren't so many books in English. They were in Arabic, in Farsi, in Urdu, maybe in Turkish, and so on, but not so many. So, and one of the beautiful original, the earliest one was Itqan, I think, by Imam Suyuti. So that was one of the first kind of books that collated, when you are studying the Quran, the sciences, what all factors do you keep in mind in studying it. So the person, Ahmed von Denffer, he was a German Muslim. He took it from the Arabic sources and he brought this beautiful book out in English. And so we have the tafsir literature coming out, but many other things. So the Khurram Murad is also another beautiful person, another beautiful author also, who's written some other lovely books. He was the Director General of the Islamic Foundation. And so he said, he talks to you about how Ahmad von Denver brings this to the fore and which references he uses. So in the introduction, what he talks about is how the Quran was compiled. How the Quran was compiled, the revelation, the hadith Qudsi, the differences, and how it happened. Then in chapter 2, he talks about the transmission. So it was oral, it was memorization, that's how it started. Then it happened in the written format, in the written text in the time of Rasulullah. After his demise, it was the mushafs of the companions all brought together, and the uniformity of that, and the mushaf of Uthman radiallahu anhu, who created the six and sent them here and there. Then, much later, he talks about it was very late that we finally had the Quran manuscripts in print. So I think it started in Turkey, but I'm just saying it on the top of my hat. But otherwise, they were handwritten, the old manuscripts. Then he talks about the form, the language, the style, the division of the text, because remember, initially it was just surahs. All the ayahs that go in this surah were done in the time of Rasulullah. The further division of having rukus with those ains on the side of the Quran and those manzils and putting them in 30 juz for convenience of reading, all this. So he talks about that in form, language, and style, talks about the language, vocabulary, the format, the ahkam and mutashabihat. That, many ayahs in the Quran are very clear: do this, don't drink, don't do this, and that's the time. And after you die, the inheritance laws and everything. So these are ahkam, these are hukums, these are given to you as they should be. Some are mutashabihat, which is are they allegorical? What does Allah mean by it? And the beauty is, while they were allegorical at one time, maybe over time, the same factor suddenly becomes easier to understand. And you say, oh, okay, so that's what it is. Be it, with all social media, all the cyberspace, many, many things that unfold and that give a greater meaning. I always like to share with children, we talk about the fitna today, of this, of that, and everything. But by the same token, it's also easier today to follow the faith, to follow the Quran, to read, to learn tajweed. All us elders say, oh, but in our days, we didn't have tajweed given to us in this way, and so on and on. So essentially, the beauty of shar and khair go together. The potential of khair in every shar is there. Like, the more the fitna can be, there can be khair coming out of it. And we see this with Palestine, seeing what fitna, what hardship they're going through. But their perseverance, their steadfastness, what an example has it been for other people as well. So those kind of things, I think I digressed a little bit, but this is what in the book he's giving you these. I'm just going through the titles of the chapters of understanding the text, which is, so it was mutashabihat and the muhkamat, which means the clear and maybe the allegorical. And he gives you all the definitions. I'm not going into that right now, but I'm just sharing you with that this sort of information is beautiful to know. Maybe you don't have to go to the book. Maybe you can just do Sheikh Google and find out from there. But having a book in your hand, it has just another flavor of being able to flick through, go through to the chapter from the content to where you want. Then they have understanding the text, whether it's a Makki surah, Makki ayah, or Madani ayah, the Asbabun Nusul, the Mansukh and Nasikh, which ayahs came, like, the fact that the ayahs are not drinking came in 3 bits. Don't do it this way, then don't, and then it was categorical don't. So he gives you that and the various reading modes. So this is in his chapter 5. Then he goes on to say, he talks about, I love this chapter 6, it's on interpreting the text. So you have tafsir, the different kinds of tafsirs, the principles which make what allows you to be a mufassir, and there were lots of factors there too. Inshallah, if we can, we'll go into that. And so the development of tafsir literature over the phases, over the life. And then the translation into the various languages, whether it be Indonesian and other of the Far East. But I was more familiar with, obviously, all the English translations and many of the Urdu translations. And, Nigeria has a rich culture of literature and production there too. So every place has it. Of course, I'm just sticking to the English at the moment, but that's what it is. Then it looks at some related issues around the Quran, like it being Ijazul Quran, the miracle of the Quran, the sciences, what goes into, what feels. There's a word called polymath, which means somebody who knows something about everything, not about something about everything, but that's how our scholars were, multifold. Anything around the Quran, around the sciences, they would know about. It wasn't this sort of, an expert is one who knows more and more about less and less. So that wasn't how they were. Then it talks about the Quran and the Orientalist, how they abuse it. And finally, it talks about the etiquette, the modes of recitation, the memorization of it, and how when they're on, in his days, he wrote this in 83, so he's just talking about records, tapes, and cassettes. But now, obviously, we have it just on the phone, and it's, it's all digital. So, and how to study it. So this again is for me, a beautiful, beautiful book, a beautiful reference book by Ulum al-Quran by Ahmad von Denffer. There are many more also done after or maybe even before. But again, coming out from England, from the Islamic Foundation, I find it a very easy read, a simple way, and just beautiful in that. So I would also recommend anything that comes out of the Islamic Foundation. You do need to ponder, and if you're going into a bookshop or look, but just even, Google it and see, what is the Islamic Foundation in terms of literature, books they have to offer. So it's another beautiful resource, really, what can I say? Professional, to the point, and again, very humble. The whole team that I knew there, very down to earth. There's no agenda, no hidden meanings, no, actually, we just want to do the marketing, and if anything that, sells, we'll put it up. No, it was very well considered. So with that, I'll leave you on another beautiful book that I love to share, and I hope to interest you in this beautiful month while we're reading the Quran, to also look at the sciences around the Quran, how it developed and so on. But with that, I'll take a break now with you, and inshallah, till next time, I pray it's been beneficial and motivates us to want to know, get closer to our Rabb through reading and love reading. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.